Hey there, welcome back to my channel. In this episode, we are going to work on these three sections where we will be completing our remaining part of the user card functionality, and we'll be creating our order also with the help of the event-driven system, where we will be implementing SNS and SQS. And then finally, we will be find out a kind of solution for our payment gateway implementation. So let's try to understand what are the endpoints it is left right here in the user service. So view and add card, it's partially done. Only the editing card or maybe delete card or view card, all these things we need to find it out from here. So that is we are going to cover it. And another thing, like add payment. Can you see this? This is exactly where we'll be adding the payment information for that specific user. User can be buyer or seller, right? So in that case, we need to keep all these payment related informations, all the credential close to the user service, right? So in another aspect, while user type is switched to seller, at that time the user should have to have the capability of to create the product as well as. In that case, the product service also need authentication, credential or some kind of authentication mechanism from the user service. So long story short, let's try to complete this add card remaining functionality first. Then we'll come back to the add payment section. Then we'll be creating our transaction microservice where we will be try to create the order section, right? So let's try to do one by one. All right, so this is our source code. So I'm going to open this user service. This is user service, right? Inside the user service, if you go to user handler, then you can see we have a bunch of endpoints where we are creating our card, this one, right? So let's forget about this one. This one will come later. But right now, if we're going to create card, then create card is happening correctly, right? Yeah, it is happening. And I'm gonna close rest of all. So let's try to add some code here in the get card functionality, right? So first of all, we need a kind of authorized user. So that is we can get it from here in the create card section. Let's copy this piece of code here and go down here, just inside the try catch block, right? Let's try to move this line here and add it here. Cool. And right after here in the catch section here, we need to return some kind of the error also. Just let's try to print it out this error from here, add it here. Now we can add some code here to get some data from our card repository. That is we are going to do. From here in the card repository, you can see this function exactly we have added in earlier also in order to get by the card items by card ID or user ID, right? So here we will be adding some code that is going to be like our So here in the find card items, we are trying to perform a kind of join query in order to find all the card items, which is exactly matched by the shopping cart, the card ID equal to our card item card ID, right? And where our shopping cart user ID equal to the provided user, right? So this is the thing exactly it's happening right here, right? And once this is done, then the similar kind of query, which is we have executed right here and try to find out the result. If the result is there, then we are finding out all the card item models, all right? And if it doesn't exist, then we are simply returning kind of empty array. So let's try to implement this function right here in the get card function, right? All right, so let's give it a try. But right before that, make sure you are using updated host URL from your EC2 instance, right? So in my case, I have this one here in the EC2 section. Right, and this is my EC2 instance. Go here and copy this public DNS URL from here, copy, and let's go to the source code again, place it here. So let's try to spin our server. Perfect, so our server is spinning at localhost 4000. Let's go to Postman, and here we are going to use this URL. This is not that one. It's going to be Yeah, it is logging in correctly. Let's grab this token and assign it here in the in this directory here. Go to root directory and place the token here. Okay, cool. Now here in the get card items, just click this URL. Can you see we are getting the data, right? So these are the data exactly. It is coming from our this function, right? From here, from get card. All right, so our get card is working. Now let's try to add some code in update and delete card quickly. For update card, we are going to do pretty much same thing, which is we did for our here in the create card. All right, so let's try to grab all the code from here in the create card section and add it here. All right, so what we can do here in update card section, this token is needed, right? Where we need to validate our user. All right, the similar way here input also it's needed, but that is not exactly the card input. Here we need to put update card input, right? This whole section exactly it's not required. So let's try to remove everything from here. Perfect. So now we are going to add some kind of data right here, but right before try to understand what exactly is going on. So if you go here in update card input, you can see only we are grabbing input because this is exactly it's necessary. It's not required any more data from the update card input, right? And another thing is needed, like we are updating that specific card item, right? And that item ID which it's required, but how we can grab it? If you go to handler function here in user handler function, you can see here it's a kind of put call, right? It is calling this function, and if you go to serverless YAML file, then you can see here in the card handler function right here, right? Go to here in the put function that is called the card and slash within the brace we are just capturing our ID. So that ID we need to grab it right there, right? For get and the create it's not required, but for delete and the edit exactly it's needed that specific ID. So let's go there, right? Card service. Here we're going to grab this specific ID. Now let's try to add a couple of more codes. That is going to be like const. Right. So now we are getting the card items, right? Let's try to return it from here, right? But why exactly this saying it's void is not assignable because we have not added any kind of code right here. Let's go here, right? So let's try to add some code right there. First, we are going to use the similar way we did for our update card item product by ID. It's a similar way we are going to do this one. Let's copy this code from here and add it right there. And we are going to do a little bit tweaking here. Here, update card items, set item ID, item quantity by a specific quantity ID. Then this time we are not going to add this product ID. We are going to put item ID. ID will be this one. This is fine. This is not going to be product ID. This is going to be our item ID. Item ID, right? So set item quantity by this quantity and item ID by this item ID, right? So once everything is done, then we are returning this stuff, right? The similar just like we did for our update the card item by product ID, right? Now let's go here in the card service, right? And now this time we should have to have the data right here, right? Exist, all right? We will check if all right, so that's all. So let's try to test this update function as well as. So this time here and run dev. Can you see now it is quantity is updated to 1, right? So our update card is also working. Last one feature we need to add, that is called delete card. So how we can delete the card? So that is exactly not delete card, it's a delete card item, right? But we are keeping the same convention, update card, get card and everything. So that is the way we are going to handle it, the same thing. All right, so now let's add some code in the delete card functionality as well as. So here let's try to add some code in the delete card functionality as well as. So a similar way we did for our update card, let's grab all this code from here and add it right here. And this time we have the token, that is perfectly fine. And this card item ID, this is not card ID exactly. Let's try to rename it card item ID. card item ID, right? This is also card item ID, and here also this is card item ID. Now this input is not necessary because we are not updating anything, right? We are just trying to delete this stuff. So let's try to delete this one, right? So here, instead of this one, we are going to call like delete card item. Okay, so here we are simply providing this card item ID. Card item ID. Right. Now it will be, again, it's a kind of void function. If you go here, then we have not added any kind of data right here. So let's try to add some code quickly right here. Right. Anyway, it's a kind of promise, so we can resolve it right here in the card service. So all right, so we no need to check right here in the card item, so we can directly return these things from here, right? Something like this way, card item, or maybe deleted item. Perfect. So now let's give it a try from there, as well as here yarn run dev. So now if you go here in get card item, we can see we have one card item is exist right here. And for delete also, we can just put this one. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. Now let's try to call this one. Now you can see here we are receiving some kind of meaningful response, right? That is called success, and its command is delete and row count is 1. But we don't want to show these things to user. So what we are going to do, end of the series, we are going to implement some kind of generic library, which is will be shared throughout of all the microservices. So our pattern of the response to the client, it will be similar, right? That is we will do. Perfect. So now our get, update, and delete function is covered, right? So user card is complete. Now we need to place the order, right? In order to place the order, we need to collect the payment from our user, right? That is what we will do. This Lambda function we are going to use while user try to sell something, right? At the time we need to collect their bank account in order to receive the payout. But for buyer perspective, we need to collect the payment as well as, right? So what we will do? So we are going to introduce one more function right here, similar just like this. Right. All right, this is going to be collect payment. All right, and let's try to return something like this way, like this. Okay, so here in the card service, if you go to card service, here in the card service, we are going to add one more function that is going to be async. All right, so right after created the card, we need to collect the payment, then this method is going to be triggered. So let's try to add these things from here in the serverless YAML file. And right after this payment, now the payment, right? So let's try to add one more block. This is going to be our order section, right? Or maybe we can say, yeah, we can say order section. That is perfectly fine because rest of all we are going to handle in some different way. So here, this is going to be our handler collect payment. So was it the same name? Yeah, collect payment. It's cool. Collect payment, and only we are putting only one single method that is going to be like payment or like or place order, we can say. Place order. Cool. So once we are going to call this function, then that specific Lambda function is going to be triggered, right? This one is going to be triggered. So a couple of things we will be doing here. Okay, first of all, so these are the steps exactly we are going to do right here in the collect payment method, right? So where we will be initializing the payment gateway, then we will be, once that is done, right, then we'll be authenticate our payment confirmation, because while payment method will be initialized, right, at the time we will be receiving some kind of webhook call or some kind of confirmations, all right. At the time we need to make sure this is correct, like that specific payment is collected correctly, all right. That these two functions, these two steps exactly is going through another function call that is we are going to tackle it. And after that, once we are receiving the payment success response, right, from the other helper function, then we will check, hey, if you have any card created, then give me all the card items from here. Then we will be grabbing all the card items. Then we will be send the SNS topic to create order, right? This is going to happen in our transaction service. Transaction microservice, right? Then transaction microservice will send some kind of email as well as to user, email to user. And once that is done, then from here, we'll be send some kind of tentative message to user, hey, your order is processing, because order may take a little bit time also, right? So once that is done, then it'll reach to user also from this microservice. Just like, you know, Amazon or some other big vendors are there doing, you know, once you place the order, they're saying, hey, your order is placed, and this is your transaction ID, or this is some ID, right? Then after some time, you are receiving the email by saying your order has been placed successfully, and it will be delivered or dispatched or something. Like, it's by step it is going through. So those are the things. So those are the things we are going to do, right? So to initialize all these things, let's try to install here inside the user service AWS SDK. Okay. So present working directory, we are in the user service. Yarn at AWS SDK. Right. So now it is done. Now we can implement the rest of all the things. Right. So let's go to diagram little quick. So we will be try to understand what exactly we are going to do right now. Okay. Perfect. So our first one is done. Second point we are going to take care right now, where we will be order create event using SNS and SQS. Right. So let's understand the order flow, how exactly these things going to be happen right after this. So after created the card, right, we have all the card items ready. Okay. So once the user try to place the order, as an example, place order button or something, it's going to be hit from our front end. At the time, the user service will be initiate some kind of call to our Stripe. Okay. So Stripe gonna take care of giving some kind of UI to the front end, right? Where user will be enter user's credit card number or banking information, right? Then once user will submit all these informations to Stripe, then Stripe will be forward all these things with the help of some kind of encrypted data to bank, right? Then bank will check verify that the specific payment ID, whatever the data it is provided by the Stripe, then search the card, right? Depends on that. Then once the card is searched, then all the information it will reach to Stripe again. Then Stripe will send us some kind of data to our service with the help of webhook, okay? Where maybe payment authorization ID or the transaction log and order ID, everything it will be received right here in the user service. Once our user service will receive all the information, required information from the Stripe, then user service will publish some kind of event to our SNS topic, right? So let's try to understand this whole thing, okay? SNS is simple notification service that is provided by Amazon, okay? So if you can see this diagram right here, okay, it's simply a kind of publisher and subscriber pattern, where publisher is publish something to the SNS topic, and there are multiple subscribers can subscribe to that specific topic. It's simply, you can say, it's a kind of fan-out system, right? Which is we did in our previous microservice series with the help of the RabbitMQ. So this is the thing exactly we are going to do with the help of the SNS. And now let's try to have a look what exactly the SQS. Okay. So SNS topic, it is like, it is pushing the stuff, right, to the topic, and each and every subscriber can reach with the help of the push that specific things from here. Okay. But in SQS, that is not the thing. Okay. SQS is a kind of pulling system, right? This is kind of publisher subscriber thing, and this is kind of like, pulling things from our queue. Okay. So while any Lambda function or some source, like whatever exactly publisher is publishing something or maybe pushing something to queue right here, okay, it will going to be laid down in right there, okay, in the queue. Then someone need to pull from here, okay, maybe consumer need to pull from the SQS, then it can be possible to trigger something or maybe perform some operation, depends on that specific, which is totally like it completely opposite of these things. Here we are just pushing the things and we are pushing to all the subscribers, but here once we are publishing something to right here in the SQS, then it will be laid on there. it will not push to certain consumer or somewhere. Consumer need to take care of all these things from here. Okay, just as an example, you can see it in this diagram. Where producer pushing something to SQS queue, then it is laid down right there, and it's kind of like our consumer can have the long pulling system, which is going to pull in a time interval, like hey, do you have some kind of message or something like that? And if it is there, then consumer is consuming that thing and it is deleting the message from the queue. Okay, and there's another thing, like if it is not delivered or if it is not consumed within a certain time, then it will be fall back to our dead letter queue. So dead letter queue is a kind of you can say it's a kind of leftover system where if it is not delivered correctly, then it will fall back here. So you can process the specific message or something consumed by the consumer once again and process for the further operation, right? So it's a kind of like fallback mechanism. So these are the things exactly it is happening right here. Okay, right here. So you might have thinking, right? Why, if it can be possible by SQS, then why we are doing with the help of the SNS topic, where you are publishing something to SQS and it is consumed from here and deleting these specific things from there, right? But every time, as an example here, while user services try to create the order, then one SQS is there. Then again, user services try to create a transaction log and another SQS is there. Okay, so user service, it's need to deal with many things to publish, right? User service need to deal with a lot of channels in terms of like user service will publish for create order, publish for create transaction, publish for something, all right? Then it will going to be nightmare, right? Many times, many SQS you need to deal with from here, and again you need to deal many SQS from here. That is not a kind of ideal thing, right? So instead of that, what we are going to do from the user service, it will publish all the things in one place. That is in SNS, right? And there we will be adding some kind of a special attribute where all the transaction service can listen to that specific topic by filtering some kind of attributes, right? Then this one, like create order, will be listen to that specific things by filtering the create order. Transaction log will be listen to that specific topic by filtering that the create transaction, right? Or maybe delete order or whatever exactly. Okay, so that means user service only need to publish only once, and each action, create order, create transaction, or whatever it is, it will be a different attributes type. Okay, based on the type, it will be going to be happen, right? That's why we are using SNS, combination of SNS and SQS together to get the job done, right? That's why it is there, right? That's why I already said, like, it's SQS is kind of one-to-one, it's suitable for one-to-one operation, and SNS for our one-to-many operation, right? That is the thing. So let's try to implement all these things together in our practical way. So first of all, let's try to create one service that is going to be transaction service. So let's go out from here. This is root directory, transaction service. Let's switch to our transaction service. Okay, here CDK init. Perfect. So our transaction service is created right here. Okay. Now let's go back to user service. Okay. Here we will be adding a couple of codes here in user service serverless.yaml file. So on the top of this serverless.yaml file, I'm gonna add some kind of code, and I'll explain later like what I did right there. All right, so what we did here. So let's try to understand first here in this resource section. Then we will be going up in the top of this file. Okay. Okay. So this is our inside the resources. All right. This is resource tag where all the resources, whatever we are going to create, we're just try to put inside the resources. And this is our resource, which is called the customer topic. Okay. And type is AWS SNS topic. Okay. That is we have already added right here, this one. Okay, and This one we will be creating here in user service, and this queue will be creating in transaction service. So it's going to be happen like user service will create this SNS topic, because user service it's need to publish these things, right? That's why this SNS topic it has to be in user service. But rest of all SQ that is we are going to create in our transaction service. So transaction service will be subscribed to that specific SNS topic, just like we are subscribing something or adding to the exchange or all those things we did in our RabbitMQ. The same way we are going to do right here in transactions. Okay, so this one we have created our customer topic. It's a type of the SNS topic, and this is our description, and specifically this name is important. Okay, this topic name. Okay, topic name is customer topic, and this is our output. Why exactly output is necessary? Because we are creating these resources. Rest of all resource, whatever resources going to be subscribed to this topic, okay, they don't know about this resource name. So somehow we need to export this topic informations so they can directly access from AWS account. That's why we are just to try to put a kind of output. All right, we are exporting this customer topic name, and this specific things it will be reflected in our output tab. Okay, I'm gonna show you very quickly that thing also. So now this is our resource part. I hope you understood correctly. Okay, we are just creating resource, right? We're giving a name, we're outputting the resource information, where we'll be getting the ARN from here. Now in the top you can see like we are setting up some kind of environment, all right, that is called SNS topic, because one of the functions from here, maybe from the card or maybe payment or whoever exactly, maybe order, okay, this one, the collect payment, it need to access that specific topic, this one, where it will publish some kind of event. In that case we need to grant some permission, right? That's why we are not going to give this one to a specific function, because maybe some of other function also need to access the same. Okay, that's why we're putting in the provider level. Okay, and but it's up to you, like you can move these things to inside the function as well as from here. You can put it here as well. If you think like this specific function need to access this one, but rest of all they are not going to access this one, then you can move fairly. But in our case, multiple functions need to access this one. That's why we are putting it right here. But for that thing, we need to assign these things to our environment as well. So our function, right? Our Lambda function can access this specific topic reference by accessing that environment variable. That is we are going to do here. Okay, and IAM role statement, that means that specific function can has the capability of publishing. If you gonna put star, then it can have a deleting, editing, or whatever exactly it's available for that specific topic, and that is you can do it. But in our case, we are just only giving the publishing permission, and resources only that specific customer topic. Okay, we are not giving everything to all the resources, only this resource. Here now in the serverless.yml file we have created our SNS topic. Okay, and our resources also ready right here. Okay, so now let's go to the user handler once again, and this collect payment, click on the collect payment. Here first of all we need to get the card items. All right, these are the two steps we are going to do right after confirmation of the SNS topic, right? It is reaching to correct location, then only we are going to handle this one. Okay, so let's try to grab the card items from here. So that thing already we have accomplished right here in the get card function, right? So let's grab all these things from here, copy, and we can get it here as well as card items. Cool. Now we can get all the informations here. Okay, so now we can create our SNS topic here. Okay, here we are getting the authorized user, then this is exactly, it should have to be right before payment and gateway initialization. Okay, so now this is our payload. Okay, the card items payload, and then let's try to create our SNS topic. Here we need to import our AWS SDK. So import AWS from AWS SDK. If you have not installed the AWS SDK library, just try to add the AWS SDK by simply doing yarn add AWS SDK. And here in this function, okay, so these are the parameters we have just created, where message will be these specific items. All right, and this is our topic errand, which is already we have exposed here in the serverless YAML file. If you can see this one, right, this is coming from here. And message attributes, these are the special attributes which is we are going to post it to our SNS topic, so our subscriber can filter all these messages based on that specific value. Action type will be place order, right, something like that. So while you are performing some other operation, then all the parameters will be something like this way. Message will be that specific payload, whatever you just want to push there, and topic errand always going to be same, and the action type going to be different. As an example, this time place order, next time it's going to be like the log the transaction or make payment or whatever. Okay, that is we can edit right here in action type, just for filtering out to specific message to reaching out the correct subscriber. Now let's try to create a new AWS SNS. Okay, so here you can pass the region also, but it is not necessarily need to send it. Okay, and now const response will be await sns.publish. Here our parameter will be go params, and it's a kind of a promise. Cool. Now this response we are just sending to our user. Okay, it's like response. Perfect. So now this is the way we are going to publish our topic. Okay, so next thing we need to do, handle it from our transaction service to hook up all these things. So here in the user handler, can you see all the Lambda functions? We are putting it one handler file. All right, so that is not going to be idle. So what we are going to do, we are splitting out a Lambda function in separate way. As an example, we'll be try to find out all the user Lambda functions separately, our cart Lambda functions, payments and orders, everything we will going to separate, right? Then we are going to perform the deploy operations. But right now for your understanding, you can see we have the SNS topic is ready. Now let's try to go to here in the transaction service. We're going to add a couple of code right there in the library here inside the leaf. Here we are going to add some code. Okay. So first thing we need to add, we need to create our queue. Okay, that's going to be like order queue. All right, so here what we did here, so we have created one order queue, right? We are giving the visibility timeout 300 seconds, okay? And after that, we are creating one order topic. So this order topic, already we have this resources created in here in AWS account. Can you see here in user service, we have already created and we are exporting these things. So this one we are utilizing right here in order to get the reference of that specific topic, okay? All right, so here we are getting the reference of this order topic. Okay, so now we are subscribing by this queue, right? Giving some kind of policy. So while any kind of message to come to this topic, make sure like only we are receiving, only we are listening to that specific topic if that the filter policy is place order, right? That is the thing we are doing right here. Okay, and after that we have created one Nodejs function, right? By giving this reference, it's not been created. We are going to create that one, and after that we have just adding the add event resource to that specific queue, okay, this order queue. Okay, so it's very simple. We are creating a queue, we are getting the reference from that specific topic, SNS topic, and we are subscribing to that SNS topic for this queue by giving this filter policy. Then we are creating our Lambda function and the handler, and we are adding the event source as a kind of that specific order queue. So that is the thing we are doing right here. So let's create the file, that specific file quickly, this one. Okay, so here inside the transaction service, let's create one more directory that is called src, and inside the src we are going to create one more directory that is called order, and inside order let's create a new file that is called create.ts. Okay, so here we are going to add a couple of codes. First of all, we need to have the AWS Lambda, so make sure it is installed right there. Switch to our transaction service, cd. Okay, and AWS Lambda. Right, let's import. Right, so it seems like we need to have these type file as well as, yeah, types also is going to be needed. Add AWS Lambda. Perfect, so now we can get SQS event. All right, this is a very simple Lambda function. All right, we are going to add more code, right? Because can you see our transaction service is not yet structured. So we are going to create a couple of files right there. But this is the basic the skeleton in terms of we are adding the here, all right? We're adding the SNS topic when we have added the SQS queue to transaction service. Now, based on that specific queue, whatever the messages it will come through, based on that message and based on that specific action, we are going to create our order and transaction log. So that is we are going to do in the next episode. Okay, so still it is not yet ready for testing because here this transaction service is ready to receive the message. All right, that's for sure. But for here in the user service, if you can see here in app, the handlers, user handlers, all the Lambda functions we are just putting in one single file. So that is not the correct way. So there are two ways we can do it. All right, this is also only one way where if you have like, maybe one single stuff as an example, you have the payment, then you can keep all this payment related stuff in one single file. Then you can move the collect payment, or maybe you can move the card section in a different file, or profile user section will be different file, something like that way. As AWS said, we need to keep our Lambda functions leaner and smaller so it can be shipped faster. Okay, that is the thing we are going to do in the next episode, so we can test it out the whole flow from here. Once the user service is calling this one like collect payment, then make sure like it is reaching to properly in the transaction service as well as where we can proceed and where we can create our order, right? Then we are going to move forward with the integration of the payment. Okay, so we are quite closer of achieving the core functionality. I hope you like this video tutorial. If you really like this video tutorial, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed it right now. And I would like to see you in the upcoming episodes. Thank you.